Hello, I'm Dylan Volman here for YBA's The Bottom Line, and today I am joined by former professional skier, former president of NHL Enterprises, and current president of Saucony Shoe Company. I'm joined by none other than Richie Woodworth. How you doing, Richie?
I'm doing great, Dylan.
And my first question for you today is, what led you from being a professional skier to being a businessman?
Well, it's a great question, Dylan. We all have to make a living, right? So yeah. I was trying to figure out at an early age what I wanted to do kind of when I grew up, right? So we always talked about it amongst all of the racers and athletes that I hung around with as what we're going to do when we grow up and when we need a real job. And I always kind of figured I wanted to be around sports, right? Sports was my life. Sports was kind of how I grew up. And I wanted to do something that could take advantage of my love, right, and my passion for sports, so that it wouldn't really feel like a job all the time. And I think I've been pretty happy that I've been able to find stuff that would allow me to do that.
That's pretty cool. And so one of your jobs that was related to sports was president of NHL Enterprises. What did you like best about that?
Well, the great part about that was being in and around a professional league. I mean, the environment that existed there was a really passionate one about sports, and in the sport of hockey in particular. We were surrounded by a bunch of really both smart people, and on the other side, with the league side, right, a bunch of really great athletes. So we always had fun stories to tell. We always had great ways of, expressing our sport, the sport of hockey, in fabulous kinds of conversational ways on television, through the, all-star game, and developing fan experiences around NHL caliber professional athletes, which was really cool.
So you're a big sports fan, right?
Big sports fan, yeah.
When you grew up, what teams did you like?
Well, I grew up here, so anybody from Boston was good with me. So the Bruins were big, right? Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito, that whole era. The Patriots, back when they weren't so great, right? And
yeah.
You probably wouldn't remember it back then, but They were not as good as they are now, although I love to watch them, and still obviously watch them today. Red Sox, Celtics, anybody from Boston.
What was your most memorable moment of being a professional skier?
I think my most memorable moment was we had sort of these big events, right? And one of the events, you ever remember the singer John Denver? Probably not.
No.
You're a little too
Sorry.
young for him, but John Denver was a great singer. He tragically died in a plane accident, but he was very popular. He was on the radio all the time, and was somebody that we all listened to. He had a race that we called the John Denver Celebrity Pro-Am. So we brought in tons of celebrities, actors, actresses, singers, songwriters, sports personalities, and they raced with us, right, the professionals in skiing. And we always did it out in Lake Tahoe at a fabulous ski area called Heavenly Valley. And one year, I was lucky enough that I had been making some money at my sport, right? So yeah. For Christmas, I gave my parents a plane ticket out there to come and see me and watch me race, surrounded, by all this hoopla around a, kind of crazy celebrity event. And it was kind of the trip of a lifetime for them. And I happened to win that race. So I was incredibly happy.
That must have been so cool for them to watch you do that.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. Yeah.
Why did you choose Wallace Spearman, a track and field runner who beat Usain Bolt at a 2000 race, to sort of be your cover boy?
So we chose Wallace, as we choose any athlete, right? They have to sort of fit a unique and, kind of common to us personality around Saucony, right? So we wanted someone that was, an incredibly gifted athlete, but also someone that had really good, strong character and good skills as a person, more so than as an athlete, or at least as equal to as an athlete. And he was a man of great character. He does a lot in his local communities. He gives back. In fact, one of the things that we negotiated in his contract with us was that we would do an award in his name to what we call the Run for Good Foundation, which is a way for us to give back to children's programs around the United States geared towards eradicating childhood obesity. So we do that by getting people active, getting kids active and running. So Wallace, that was an important thing for him. He wanted to make sure that he gave back to kids and helped us in our foundation do things like that. So to me, that was a great character building kind of moment, and we knew that not only could the guy run really, really fast, right? He was also a really high quality, high character individual. So that made him kind of good for us. And the other things were stuff that we would talk about in terms of marketing. How, who does he appeal to, right? What type of person? How do we make Wallace Spearman relevant to kids your age and older, 16, 18-year-old track and field athletes, the kid that might, run track and field in the spring but play football in the fall, right? Very diverse kind of athletes. And that was a way for us to get us relevant in that group. And that's another reason why we used Wallace.
So with your new sort of shoe line, Find Your Strong, what is your marketing plan for the 2012 year?
So 2012 is an Olympic year, right? So the London Olympics in August. We're looking forward to that. We have a goal of getting 6 medals in London with our cast of, Saucony athletes. But we're also going to, what we call, really kind of open up and platform this idea of Find Your Strong, right? So Find Your Strong might mean one thing to you. It might mean something entirely different to me. But as a running company, we inspire people to run. That's kind of our mission. We want to inspire people every day to get up, to run, and make their running experience better and build a relationship with a person that runs with our brand. So Find Your Strong, we find appeals, to runners on many different levels, and we want to make that, an important component of what we do, what we talk about, and how our brand gets messaged and imaged around the world.
So your job sounds pretty cool, right? You like it?
I love it, yeah.
So
Your job sounds pretty cool, too.
Thank you. So how do you balance your job with your family life?
It's a tough question, and sometimes, things do get out of balance, right? But I'm really lucky. I have 3 great children that are all into sports in different kinds of ways. A great wife, right, who is an Olympic skier, and so we share that in common. And I think, we all know that as a family, we kind of stick together through tough and, great times as well. And, when you have each other, the little balance things that you have to deal with all the time seem to kind of work themselves out.
Now you said Saucony's goal was to get 6 Olympic medals, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of runners and athletes out there who are involved with the monster brands like Reebok and Nike. How do you compete with those brands?
Yeah, so you're a really smart kid. It's very tough. It's very tough for us to compete with them on a lot of different levels. Number one, obviously, we can't spend as much as they do. So what does that mean? We have to be smarter. We have to outthink them. We have to outwork them, right? And we have to out-hustle them. So, that's what we do. And the thing that I think that we do that's very different than some of the big mega brands, when we have an athlete like a Wallace Spearman, or we have an athlete like Magdalena Louis-Boulet, who was on the Olympic team in Beijing for us, we develop, a relationship with them that is unique. They feel like part of the Saucony family. It's hard to do that when you're just one of, 1,000 athletes in the, whatever big company stable. So our relationships with our athletes are special. They feel like they belong in our brand. They feel like the character and the trait of our company is consistent with what they are and who they are. And we foster that. We try to build that all the time. And we make them special. We make them feel special.
Well, that's really cool. And my final question for you is, which did you like better, being a professional skier or right now being a businessman?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, but there's nothing like the feeling of being a professional athlete. And to stand, you know, at the top of the mountain in a starting gate, knowing that you're gonna, within a matter of 4 or 5 seconds, be going 60 or 70 miles an hour downhill on skis, you know, that's a pretty exhilarating feeling, and one that I don't think, you know, is difficult to replicate. You know, having said that, I have an incredibly strong relationship with the team that we have at Saucony. So to me, you know, the building of the Saucony brand and, you know, fostering all the relationships that we have with our team here is really very, very satisfying.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.